FC Barcelona hosted Athletic Bilbao in a La Liga match. 4-0 is how it ended, courtesy of goals from Robert Lewandowski, Ferran Torres, Sergio Roberto, and Ousmane Dembele. In this video, we'll be taking a look at how the tactics came about and how Xavi basically dominated Ernesto Valverde. Also, how he deserved a lot of credit for the success that Barcelona had in this game. Many people like Craig Burley from ESPN says that Athletic Bilbao was horrendous, but it was actually Xavi's tactics that made them look so horrendous. On paper, Barcelona lined up as 4-3-3, but in actuality it was 4-2-3-1, with Sergio Busquets and Frenkie de Jong making the double pivot. And although Xavi on paper was the left winger, it was actually Pedri who lined up in that left wing space. So in the build-up phase, Barcelona basically lined up with two diamonds on either side of the boxes made up by the centre-backs, defensive midfielders, full-backs and the two free eights with Ousmane Dembele as well. Marc-Andre ter Stegen were always involved in the build-up, trying to create a back three, 3-on-1 against Bilbao's forward. And also, if they decided they were going to press up the back three, then somebody would be open in midfield. Or if the far side winger decided to press the centre back, then Alejandro Balde were open. And Pedri were also used to create an overload, trying to play it through one side, and that will bring the whole team across, also in turn dragging the whole Bilbao across, creating acres of space for the likes of Ousmane Dembele to operate over on the far left hand side, and this destroyed Athletic Bilbao. This simple tactic created all Barcelona's goal. Let's take a look. In the first goal, you can see that Pedri switched the ball to Ousmane Dembele, where he cuts inside, trying to take a shot, and actually the ball parries away. Robert Lewandowski receives and he crosses it back to Ousmane Dembele. He jumps up and he heads the ball home, scoring the first goal of FC Barcelona. Now let's take a look in the goal where Dembele assists Roberto as well. The same tactic again. Barcelona plays to one side, Sergio Roberto meets the ball. He gets the ball, give it over to Ousmane Dembele, he gives it back to him, Sergio Roberto in behind. To a lucky deflection, he actually scores the goal as well. Even if the third goal comes of Robert Lewandowski, let's see in the goal that he scored also coming from that same tactic. Now this one is a little bit different. Jules Koundé could have switched the ball, but he passes the ball to Ousmane Dembele, who turns the play inside out. This was a tactic actually, where he gives the ball to Robert Lewandowski, who turns incredibly around and he scores his goal. Let's see in the goal of Ferran Torres as well. The exact same tactic again for Barcelona, playing through one side where the ball gets switched by Frenkie de Jong to Ousmane Dembele over to the other side. Ousmane Dembele gives it to Ferran Torres switch and turns, he shoots the ball on target and he actually scores as well. FC Barcelona built it up in their normal back four shape, with nobody more advanced than the other. This was done so that Barcelona could actually have numerical advantages. With Pedri dropping into midfield, this forced Bilbao to operate very closely, and thus for creating acres of space for Barcelona's fullbacks to operate in. And this is why Robert Lewandowski actually moved over to the left hand side a little bit more in order to let the space go out for Alejandro Balde so that he can keep the width. I think Xavi really learned his lesson against Real Madrid by overloading the midfield. Nowadays throughout Europe, it is a common theme to press the opposition centre-back. Now this would be ideal if the opposition only have a single pivot in which you can actually close him down. This is why Frenkie de Jong and Sergio Busquets played, because Barcelona operated with a double pivot to create a 3-on-1 in this region, therefore making them very static. This gave Xavi or Pedri the license to operate and drift all over the place, trying to create numerical advantages wherever Xavi wanted them to be. Therefore, the back four being so static and so playful, that meant that if they were closed down, Barcelona would have a numerical advantage of 4 versus 3 in midfield. With Pedri also coming in, this absolutely killed Athletic Bilbao. But like I said, Xavi really learned from the Real Madrid game. This was the whole explanation of starting with a midfielder at left winger, This was all to overload the midfield, trying to create spaces and actually dominate, because if you dominate midfield, you will dominate the game. But furthermore, this also allowed Alejandro Balde to go forward because of the double pivot, where Frenkie de Jong or Sergio Busquets could easily stand in for the player. And Frenkie de Jong also operated a little bit more deeper than Sergio Busquets, and he could actually cover the spaces, which I think that made Sergio Busquets look really good. In order to create a back three as well, he dropped in between the centre backs. This forced Bilbao to go a little bit more backward, and Barcelona had their free aids even though there was no right winger or left winger. This opened the space straight through the free aids, and this forced them to operate really narrow, where Barcelona could get the upper hand actually. This forced them into a 4-4-2 formation where Frenkie de Jong could actually go back. But this is the thing about overloading the midfield. When they stretched, even when they pressed, you have options where you can actually also pin down the opposition's deep lying midfielder, which was the main problem for Ernesto Valverde. Well, that will be all from my side today. I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. Please make sure that you do hit that subscribe button, as it would help us a lot. You can also follow me on Facebook. There will be a link in the description. And I really wanted to ask you guys to share this video, because we want the channel to grow. We want to reach a wider audience to make coolers actually understand the tactical side of the game a little bit better. But as Barcelona go throughout the midfield week against Bayern Munich for the Champions League, Barcelona has a massive game coming up. So please do subscribe. Don't forget to like this video, comment your thoughts down below. But from my side, thank you.